It's no surprise that the Hollywood strike has been a complete chaos from the start, and it's not due to the reasons they were striking for. Instead, it's because of the bizarre and sometimes outrageous actions and statements coming from union leaders and members.
If I'm going to stand there 18 hours in a dress of an iconic Disney princess, I deserve to be paid for every hour that it is streamed online.
One striking example of this issue is when the writers turned on Jenna Ortega during the picket line simply because she didn't want a love triangle on the show on a Wednesday. However, these unions have now taken their criticism of Jenna Ortega to a whole new level. Apparently, actors are not allowed to dress up as Jenna Ortega for Halloween. It's important to note that they didn't specify that you couldn't dress up as movie characters for Halloween. They specifically targeted Jenna Ortega. It's puzzling why these unions believe they have the authority to dictate what their members can or cannot do in their private lives, especially when it comes to something as lighthearted as a Halloween party. The focus should be on the larger issues at hand during this strike. The Actors Union should be channeling their efforts into negotiating with the major studios for better compensation, rather than policing what their members wear to a Halloween party or concerning themselves with Jenna Ortega's actions and statements. Even when we consider the Writers Union, their attack on Jenna Ortega at the picket line over changes to the show on a Wednesday seems entirely unrelated to the core issues they're striking for. It would make more sense for them to direct their full attention and energy towards securing improved payments for their members, rather than being preoccupied with the actions and words of a 21-year-old actress. From the very start, these unions have been laying down some rather peculiar rules. For instance, the Actors and Writers Union made an announcement stating that anyone who promotes a movie during this strike, whether they're part of the union or not, would never be allowed to join the union. It's quite perplexing, isn't it? This means that even a 15-year-old, if they were to promote a movie or just share an Instagram story from the cinema, would forever be barred from joining the union, even if they pursued an acting career years later. What struck me as odd is the sense of entitlement here. Why should they have a say in what people who aren't even part of their union choose to do? Especially when it comes to young people who might dream of becoming actors in the future. They shouldn't be held accountable for such minor decisions like posting an Instagram story about a movie when they were just 15. There are numerous other rules like this issued by these unions during the strike, which seem to have no real impact on the strike's outcome or their actual goals. It's been a head scratcher for me right from the beginning. A more significant question to ponder is why these unions appear to have a bone to pick with Jenna Ortega. It seems like it's because she's unafraid to voice her opinions about the current state of Hollywood. In her passionate stance, she emphasized the importance of respecting the source material and preserving the legacy characters. This became evident in her comments about the character Wednesday and her dissatisfaction with the love triangle plot. She took action on the set to ensure her character was portrayed in a way that aligned with the source material, as she believed the story was being compromised by decisions that didn't make sense. It's unfortunate that actors advocating for the source material often face backlash, as seen recently with Henry Cavill. He too spoke out on the set of The Witcher, urging the production to honor the source material and expressing his frustration with changes that didn't align with fan expectations. Ultimately, he left the project, and some members of the cast and crew labeled him as toxic for doing so.
Watching a project, you want to feel like the characters are representatives that you're seeing of yourself on screen are relatable or attainable. And sometimes when you're constantly walking and there's cars blowing up in the background and things like that, it's cool and it's awesome. It looks beautiful, but I don't know anything about her. So it's hard to develop some sort of admiration or connection with women when they're written very two-dimensional.
Some members of the crew even claimed that the main reason for the toxicity on set was the lead actor's obsession with the source material. This seems quite perplexing because when you're working on a project like The Witcher or Wednesday, it's because there's a passionate fan base who love these characters and stories. Therefore, the top priority should always be to deliver what the fans want to see, staying true to the story they adore. Jenna Ortega, who plays a role in Wednesday, faced criticism from producers for her strong advocacy on sticking to the source material on set. What's interesting is that the director, Tim Burton, actually supported her making changes to her character. He cast her because he believed in her understanding of what was best for her role. In a creative field like this, making changes and offering your perspective is a fundamental part of the process. It's about collaborating, sharing ideas, and challenging each other to create the best possible story. It's not personal, it's about telling the most compelling story. Surprisingly, these producers and even some unions took these creative differences personally, with attacks on Jenna Ortega. This is entirely counterproductive in an industry where the aim should always be to craft the best story possible, and being critical and open to change is just part of the process. Are you sick of being poor and alone? Turn your life around with the help of the magical Genie Script. The Genie Script is a 30-day program that teaches people how to meditate effectively. It includes videos and ebooks to guide individuals in preparing their minds for positive changes in their lives. The program claims to have the potential to transform one's life dramatically and suggests that successful individuals have used it to achieve wealth and success. So what are you waiting for? Click the link in the description to get Genie Script. Furthermore, another reason behind the resentment directed at Jenna Ortega by the unions appears to be her decision to collaborate with A24 on an overseas film project during the ongoing strike. This choice was, in fact, within the bounds of the union's demands, and they gave it their approval. However, some members of the union couldn't help but feel a twinge of jealousy. While Jenna was working abroad and earning for her role in a movie, many of their fellow actors were left idle at home, struggling to make ends meet and possibly falling behind on their rent payments. This jealousy seems to be fueling the unwarranted animosity towards Jenna, which is perplexing considering she never acted against the union's interests. In fact, she actively supported and advocated for the union by sharing resources to help struggling actors receive payment during the strike. She diligently followed the union's sometimes peculiar and seemingly pointless orders. So it's baffling why some members believe they have the right to be angry with her. This irrational resentment has even led to a bizarre rule among some union members, prohibiting them from dressing up as Jenna Ortega on Halloween. The more I think about it, the more it seems utterly absurd, especially now as the strike is nearing its end and negotiations for better terms with the studios are in a positive state. They should be focusing on that, not trivial matters like this. Thankfully, voices like Ryan Gosling and other union members speaking out against this rule are a good sign. It shows they're not merely following the union blindly, but are willing to fight for their rights. Ultimately, the union's primary role is to negotiate better pay for its members, not to interfere in their personal lives with strange rules. What are your thoughts on this situation? Please share them in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, remember to hit the like and subscribe buttons. I'll catch you in my next video.